Wladimir, good afternoon. I'm so delighted to join you here. How are you?
Hello, Alice. How you doing? Good to see you.
Likewise,
I'm
it's
great,
been
thank you.
ages. What are you doing here, Wladimir? What's got the social economy in your mind at the moment?
I believe it should be in mind of every person. Social economy is a very important topic, and I'm definitely part of it. And thank you for having me today here.
Fantastic. What does the social economy mean for you?
For me personally, I believe as a part of the society, we are challenging right now crisis that we have as a current pandemic, for instance, geopolitical crisis. As Ukrainian, I know what it is. And we have crises that are constantly populism, and we can go on and on and on because the world became global. And we understand that we need to act globally as well. If we talk about the world is like sinking in plastic, the ocean is in danger, the ecological system is horrible, and unless we don't feel it and we don't get in action, nothing's going to happen. And we should do it together. And we cannot just hide somewhere in the corner and say, it's somewhere else in another country. Fukushima is in Japan, and Chernobyl is in Ukraine. So we don't care about it because it's not in our country, but we're connected as never before. Through digitalization, the global world became much smaller. And look at this, we're launching helicopters on Mars. And we just do some amazing things from Earth to the other planet or another planet multiple times. But we need to understand that we really need to act globally together. And of course, we're personalities, we're human, we're software, we're agile. We need to change all the time. And I love this theory of Darwin. Not the strongest is going to survive and not the smartest, but someone who is adapting to the environment. And we definitely need to adapt to the challenges we're facing right now.
Indeed,
so that's why
Wladimir.
social economy is really some very important topic for my environment, my world, people that I work with, allies that I work with. And thank you one more time for having me here, and I'm happy to share more.
Indeed. I love how you explain there's the Mars, there's helicopters, there's the world, but in the end, it's us being adaptive animals. And this is really what the social economy is about, is working together to build on that, to move forward. And I think you also mentioned being iterative and adaptive. When I think of people who've had career after career, you often come to mind. You had a former career in sports, professional sports and boxing, and after that you developed another career and indeed a method which is about helping people to help themselves. Could you tell us about that, please?
It's something that was very important to me since I'm retired as an athlete. I'm not retired from the life, and life is an amazing thing, and then I will continue, keep on punching all the time. So we'll remain active. After I'm done with the sport, I have created a method, and there was something to pass to the future generations. That was my goal, because as soon as I'm going to be done with something that I'm doing, and at some point I'm going to be done with my life, or my life with me, however it's going to be taken, nothing is going to be left for the future generations. And I believe I've learned in the sport of boxing a lot. I was facing a lot of opponents, literally. And I was facing a lot of challenges. And I have developed principles that made me successful. And those principles I named FACE. So FACE has 4 letters. F stands for focus. A stands for agility. C stands for coordination. And E stands for endurance. So those principles helped me to be successful in almost 3 decades in the sport. And I'm not going to count how many fights I had and how many titles I won and all of this. So it was plenty, but I understood that it was something that was personally important for me, but I also want to spread the method and change people's mindset. And that's why Klitschko Ventures is the company, is a mindset company that really provides services and products for people and organizations that really need it, especially now during the pandemic and after the pandemic. That's going to be, this time is going to come, and we all hope for this to come sooner than later. It is very important because it all starts from your own mindset. How will you act, and how will you act in your company, your family, with your friends, with the world, with the politics, with all collected. And I believe that mindset is very, very important, and methodology in this case as a system, extremely important to act as an individual and also act as a company, act as your allies would act together with you and to achieve some goals and face maybe new challenges.
Indeed, with this method, I like that point. You said accessing the mindset and willpower is a methodological process, and this is what you've been working on. Indeed, many of us in the social economy have a lot of will, we have a lot of want, we have a lot of passion and purpose, and we work hard to break down barriers that are in front of us, like legislative or bureaucracy or financing barriers. But at the end of the day, sometimes we feel tired. You know, you talk about just keep on punching and get back up. And that's why you worked on this method. How do we tap willpower to keep going with these big social goals that we have?
Well, you know, as an athlete, it's probably easy for me because I know how to do it. But my goal was also to spread it, and how you can create willpower. Of course, it's learnable. Trust me, if a bear can learn how to ride a bicycle in a circus, a person can learn a lot more things. And as an athlete, I want people to be really aware of themselves. And in this case, they need to learn about themselves more and have clear mindset, clear visibility on the world, and exactly identify what is important, what is the focus on, what is my next goal, why do I want to do it, and most importantly, if I don't take this goal, if I don't have it, what's the consequences going to be? Is it going to be painful for me, for my family, my country, my city, the world? Or it's going to be like, nothing is going to happen. As we see with the global warming, you know, we hear the news that from North Pole, a huge chunk of iceberg, you know, just separated, and we see it in the news, and we're not really attached to it. But if we understand the consequences, if we don't get in action collectively, personally as well, then the world can go down. So in this case, I just wanted to provide through those principles for the people that they can identify their next goals, better identify their next goals, take those challenges, because otherwise it's going to be really painful if we don't take those goals, don't identify them. And of course, we need to act in this case together and collectively, as I mentioned it before. So agility in this case is important to find who your allies are. Maybe sometimes you need to work with your enemies. As I did as an athlete, I used to work with sparring partners that became my opponents later on. And that was crucially important for the period of time to get myself ready for the next upcoming battle. But I knew at some point we will face each other in a real ring. So competition in this case, that's the right wording for it, instead of competition, really helped me, as well as coordination between my mind and my body, because it's very important duality between those two, and also spread it out to your allies to coordinate how can we collectively get attention to that topic, that issue, that problem. And I call problems challenges to that challenge, and how can we collectively massively stop it or block it or solve it. And of course, if you keep on going, you need to have qualities of endurance, because nothing is going to happen from today till tomorrow. You know, sometimes you just keep on going with that, and you have to just face those challenges, and sometimes they could be painful, mentally or physically even painful, but you need to go over it. So there is for a reason called in sport or in general life, that condition or endurance beats masterpiece or talent even. So your endurance is extremely important to keep on going and never stop. So I call it keep on punching. But you cannot stop, because as soon as you stop, you're going to fall back. You're going to stop in your own development and your own moving forward. So you have to just keep on going, because motion and moving ahead is really life. And staying still, meaning falling back, meaning pretty much death. So we don't want to die. We want to live and do it better than we did it in the past generations, and pass it to the future generation. Think about the future, because as I said, nothing's going to happen from one day to the other. So we really need to have endurance for it.
Fantastic advice. I love what you were saying about the agility and the coordination. You gave an example here of your sparring partners, who might sometimes be a sparring partner, and at the other time they might be then an opponent. I think sometimes in the social economy we feel that too. You know, I have this little chocolate company. And years ago, I used to feel sometimes that I would be a small social enterprise and there were those big multinational companies on the other side. And I would sometimes see them as competitors or the opposite or not who I am, until I really realized we have to work together. This is the value chain we're talking about. It's 5 million farmers or 14 million farmers, and there's no way ever as a single social enterprise could we ever achieve the goal or the impact we're really working for. And your example there about agility and coordination, both co-opetition with organizations that you're, let's say, working with or against, but then also your allies in the field. That's a really delicate balance. At the end there, you said endurance is the key. So if we're constantly balancing this agility with our competitors, this coordination with our allies, how do we tap that endurance to keep going?
To mention what you just said, once again, we are social animals, as Aristotle has mentioned it as well. We are, and we need to really collectively do things as well as personally. It is extremely important to do things methodologically. So if we don't have a system, we cannot proceed with anything in life. So it should be systematic in this case. The methodology Face the Challenge was implemented on personal level as well as on corporate level, and it has its own products that really helps to just say it does work. It not just did work in my case as an athlete, as a former athlete, and it does work on personal level through workshops and people just looking for something like, how can I get my next challenge? How can I identify my next challenge? How can I get grip in my next challenge? And how can I be a winner in the end? So it does work well with personal level as well as in corporate level. Because, look, we have all different ideas. We have all different goals. If we talk about corporate or globally thinking, how can we achieve something? It doesn't really matter what we do. We have always someone having different opinion. And probably that opinion might be right, or maybe wrong, or maybe not yet. Maybe the timing is not right now. But the person has right to say it, to mention it, to do it in a certain way. And to have global change is completely and very difficult to achieve. Because as I said, we all have different colors, we have subcultures, we have cultures, we have religions, we have politics, we have different interests. This world is as many angles of this world are as amazing as it is, but as complicated as it could possibly be, especially now with the globalization, it's getting even more complicated. But if we act systematically, we definitely will identify what is our next enemy. What it could be. Is it Corona, or is it something else after Corona? What is that going to be? We can't even plan what is the next challenge going to be, but we need to be prepared for that. So in this case, I just want to spread this methodology as much as possible, and I definitely sure that people understand better their problems, and they're turning their problems into challenges, and eventually they will achieve whatever they took or want, and not just personally, but also collectively.
That's a great advice. I hear you talking about dreaming big, yet bringing things into small packages and small pieces. It's like a duality between big picture, but that sort of daily drop of water on the stone. Could you tell us more about that, please?
Well, obviously there are different ways to get things done in this case, and like it's always good to get it into your personal level. I do have ecosystem and ecosystem, eco and ecosystem. So I definitely understand that ecosystem without a big ego in this case, you cannot really achieve anything in life, because that's the moving force that we all have. And ego maybe sound negatively, but in reality is very, very positive quality to have. As you think about any politician, any athlete, any successful business person, and so on, if you really ask them, do you have an ego? They would probably say, I have a huge ego. And that actually helping me through the day, through the year, through the challenges that I have. And so in this case, ego is important, but also ecosystem is important, because we are part of the society, we are part of the community, we're part of the family, we're part of something bigger than us. And obviously mention it, think big, and it's very important, but all the big things are from small packages, and we need to work through them, we need to get through them, and only collectively as an ecosystem we can do it, and act with multitasking probably on different stages, because sometimes it's difficult to say like what is more important, the political crisis, the female rights, the ecological system of our planet, what is more important, and so on, what is going to be the first in action, and what is going to be the second and the third. And I believe that if we identify who we identify better our goals, and we identify priorities better in this case. So I'm definitely sure that as long as you understand who you are, you will understand what kind of part you can play. And I love this saying of JF Kennedy, and we can apply to anything pretty much in life. Don't ask what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. In this case, what you can do for your community, what you can do for global change, and what you can do better to fight any challenges that we have. And obviously, if every single person, or majority, pretty much impossible to say every single person, but majority will ask this question, then we're definitely going to live in a better world. And we're definitely going to come over any crisis that we possibly could have. Either it's a pandemic, economy, or politics.
Indeed. I think you find you've got a lot of colleagues here nodding and smiling when you're talking about that purpose-driven, what can you do for the cause? I love how you bring up something that I think that would be controversial or challenging in the social economy area. You said the ecosystem to feed and support the ecosystem. And, you know, Wladimir, I have a lot of friends that are social entrepreneurs or NGO leaders or working in the social sector. And often you find people putting the cause or the purpose before themselves. They're, you know, some are tending to burn out, work themselves to the bone. Others, for example, are putting together financing models that just get them running, but don't put enough fat on the financial bone for them to grow and replicate these big goals. I think there's something there that you said that is very important for the social economy, which is take care of yourself as an individual, as the structure and governance of your organization, so you can take care of that bigger ecosystem. What is a good way that you find that one can actually take care of themselves despite that big dreams and feeling of wanting to help?
I love at the best practical examples. And during the Corona pandemic, I think we've faced it many times.
Wrap it up.
The delivery of
Wrap it up.
vaccines,
2 minutes.
supply of this, with fighting Corona together, lockdown yes or lockdown no, how much of a lockdown, who is going to be delivered first, who is second, who is third, from looking at the countries, continents. And I love this practical example. When you fly an airplane, it sometimes is more or less on, and I believe you saw it many times, especially you because you're a world traveler, I know. You have this video when you were in the airplane. You have that video that usually plays on the screen, and when the pressure in the cabin drops, so oxygen mask drops, right? And you usually you see this image of an adult, male or female, sitting next to a child. And first, you have to put the mask on yourself. Second, on the child. And the logic is or human side says first help the child, but it's wrong, because the child is not going to help you. So you need to take care of yourself first to help others. If you're strong, you can make the world strong. You can make the next person to you strong. Less stronger person as identification. So if you really prepare yourself on the different stages, in this case, mind and body in the duality work, you can become a strong person. So you can help your community, your city, your country, the world. Just start from yourself. And it's always the question, not why, but the question who. And in boxing, we had question, who is holding the gloves? Not why, but who. So it's you. And if you're a driving force, I'm sure you can knock any challenge out and become, in the end, a true winner for a longer time. So that's why I believe that's the best answer I could give you, with practical examples, with this video that I've been watching as a traveler, world traveler, so many times. And my logic was why not child? But later on, it was totally understandable. Of course not, because you need to be strong. You need to, if you're strong, you can help the others.